All right, welcome to the Carl Jackson Show podcast, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Guys, I'm going to take you back to Israel and the attacks on Israel by Hamas. I know a lot of people are up in arms. They don't like what they're seeing in Gaza. I think that Gaza needs to be flattened. I'm sorry. This is the way, this is evil, and this is how you confront evil. And a lot of Americans are too weak to realize this, but there was a terrorist attack. And quite frankly, I think a lot of people on the left don't want you to see some of these videos and these images that we're going to show you. I didn't do it yesterday, but the more that I thought about it, I do want you to see some of this stuff. In fact, I'm sure many of you have seen them already, but part of the reason why I want you to see them now is because the Biden administration and the left, they don't want you to know what real terrorism looks like. This is real terrorism, not J6 protesters. And I want you to understand, our borders are wide open. Don't think for a second that what we see in Israel can't happen here. As a matter of fact, I think it will happen here. So we're going to be talking about that. Guys, please subscribe to my podcast wherever you go to get your podcast. Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble. If you're on YouTube, guys, please listen. If there's a special thanks. If you can contribute to this podcast, we will certainly appreciate it. We're trying to upgrade on some equipment here, make things nicer and better for you, and to expand, quite frankly. We would certainly appreciate the help. But even if you just subscribe, that would be a big help, and share this podcast. The same is true for Rumble. We would certainly appreciate that. So wherever you can find us, please subscribe and share. We're on all things social media at The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find me. Twitter, Instagram, True Social, Getter, somewhere else, Facebook, Meta, whatever it's called, Facebook. So please follow us there. And then this show is brought to you by MyPillow.com. MyPillow.com, click the radio podcast square at the top of the page. Enter my name, Carl, C-A-R-L. Or if you prefer, give them a call, 800-858-0263, 800-858-0263. And there's a plethora of deals that are available to you. Some upwards of, over 60% off. Actually, over 60% off. Some upwards of 50%. Some upwards of 66% off. So anyway, go to mypillow.com and do some early Christmas shopping, or just buy something that you would love for yourself. They got the Giza sheets. They got the My Pillow 2.0. They got bed sheets. They've got mattress toppers. They've got dog beds. You name it. You get huge discounts right now. MyPillow.com, promo code Carl. Okay, guys, I want to talk to you about this GOP report, and we're going to play some video for you. Actually, let's start with the video. I know some of you guys have seen this video, but I'm going to show it. I debated on showing it because I don't want to hype video up just for the sake of hyping video up and trying to get ratings and trying to get clicks. I don't want to do that. But this is real evil. I can barely stomach watching this stuff. I get mad, I get heartbroken, and I got to be frank with you. I am so mad and devastated that Israel has such strict gun control. I mean, if somebody would like to message me, I'd like to know why. I think I get. I mean, you're obviously in the region of the world. Perhaps you're more concerned about someone using a gun on you that might be a terrorist, or perhaps because of where you are in the region of the world, you don't want to stir up world controversy, because God knows the world seems to be against you, the UN, and unfortunately the U.S. government at this point, or maybe it's just your biblical values. I don't know. But I don't understand how you don't have the equivalent of a Second Amendment there. And I'm not trying to, it's hard to say because I don't want to see this, and I'm not blaming the victims, but it makes no sense to me that you would be in the middle or surrounded by people that hate you and not, especially if you've gone through the IDF, not be allowed to carry a gun afterwards. Anyway, having said that, let's stomach through these together, and then I'm going to talk to you about this damning report that came out yesterday where the Biden regime failed to remove more than 99% of illegal aliens that have been released into the United States. Guys, we don't know who have come into this country. I had somebody yesterday message me. I didn't even respond. Why are you talking about all this, what's happening in Israel? We've got the persecution of, Trumpsters and whites and stuff like that right here in the United States are being discriminated against. Talk about that. Never hear you. And I'm like, you moron. I mean, seriously, I've talked about this stuff so much in the past. It's insane. When I was in for Larry Elder, I used to bring Julie Kelly on weekly before a lot of these people were talking to Julie Kelly, because I was reading her stuff weekly. So to say that is just sheer stupidity, quite frankly. But it is what it is. But I want you to see what's happening there, and why, and explain to you why Democrats don't want you to see it, because this is real terrorism. J6 protesters didn't do this. J6 protesters didn't use weapons. They weren't terrorists. There wasn't an insurrection. You don't have an insurrection without weapons. That's why you show people this. And you show people what real evil is. We should see what real evil is, because in America, I'm sad to say, with these open borders, you are going to face real evil. We've already seen it in 9/11. Oh my God, how quickly people forget. It's insane to me. I can't believe that anyone on the right would be so stupid as to say, how does this apply to us? Terrorism applies to everybody. Do you understand that these people that are ravaging these women and killing women, children, men, grandmothers, they consider Israel the little Satan. They consider us the big Satan. Honestly, this should be a unifying rally. We should be rallying around Israel, because these people want to kill us too. And now Joe Biden has let them in. Guys, consider this. Joe Biden left behind $85 billion in military equipment that the Taliban seized. What did they do with that equipment? There are reports that some of that equipment is showing up in Israel, used to kill Israelis. Guys, I hate this. And not to mention the sanctions relief. We gave the regime essentially unfroze $6 billion. They said, okay, we got $6 billion here. That means this money that we have, we can use for terror attacks, on the people that we hate, that hate us. They want to kill us too. They think we're the big Satan. This is the little Satan. Look at how they handle the little Satan. Don't tell me this doesn't apply to us. I read a headline today, over $80 billion that Iran has been able to rake in oil money since the sanctions since Joe Biden ended the sanctions that Trump imposed on them. Guys, they don't use this money. The Ayatollah Khomeini and the Islamic regime of Iran, not the people, but the Islamic regime, the Islamic terrorists that are running the country, that treat their citizens like crap. These people are helping to fund this stuff, and Joe Biden is helping to fund them. That's how it connects. I can't believe that people, it's insane, man. Not every, I know there's this, we shouldn't get involved in war and all. I get that. And I don't want boots on the ground, even though we may have to put special operations if they're not already, because we've got American hostages there, and there's no telling how many. But guys, let's do some critical thinking. There are wars that we should not be involved in, and there are wars that we should pay attention to and probably help out in. And I'm not necessarily talking boots on the ground. This is one of them, because these people are coming for us too. This is the only democracy in the Middle East. So I'm sorry, I want those people armed to the hilt, because you know what? I want Israel to kill those people there before they come here. Sadly, I do think this one is connected. I don't want to get in a war where we're sitting in the desert for 20 years, but if we got Americans hostage and, listen, special operations, or we can hook Israel up with they can buy equipment from us, and even since we have Americans there, hook them up with a little bit, you know what I'm saying, to weaponry to make sure we get Americans, as many Americans back. All right, that's affecting Americans. This isn't. It's amazing to me. It's. I feel like we're becoming almost as dumb as Democrats. It's like just because we say one thing, a mantra, no forever wars. So then we can't think, we can't discern. Like, all right, no, we shouldn't be in. I don't think there's no justification that I see at this point to send buttloads of money to Ukraine because we don't have an objective. There's no objective. This war could go on for 1,000 years. There's, and obviously I'm being hyperbolic, but there's no objective. So in that case, yes. Why do we spend so much time in Iraq and all that? Did we change anything? And then Afghanistan? But I do think this circles around and affects us. And one, because let's be real, our government, in part, I think is to blame for this attack. So we should pay attention to this. Anyway, having gone on that rant, let's go ahead and watch this here video, por favor, because I'm going to give you some more border numbers. I know I keep giving you border numbers, but I'm telling you right now, listen to me. Listen to me. Gabe, this should probably be a short. Our border is being overwhelmed, and some of those are terrorists and some of those are criminals. I'm going to give you some new numbers. What happened in Israel is going to happen here. In fact, I would say it's happening here already in a different way with fentanyl, but the brutality that we're seeing there, we're going to see it here again, with the borders being as wide open as they are. I want you to understand that. Get right with God, get out of debt to the best of your ability, load up on ammo and food supplies, enjoy life while you can, and brace yourself. Brace yourself. Because I think the crap is about to hit the fan. I think America gets worse before it gets better. But we're going to fight to make it better. Let's play this video, Gabe. Not only does this hurt me for that woman, because we can guess what already happened to her. Looking at those pictures, right? We can already guess what happened to her. It makes me so mad seeing these fools standing right there. No one has a gun to fire on them. And for all of you that are anti-Second Amendment, if this were happening here, and it will, I guarantee you won't be anti-Second Amendment then. That's the real brutality. So you had Rashida Tlaib. I should have got this video for you, Gabe, but you had Rashida Tlaib that refused to answer any questions about women, women, children, babies being murdered. She came out. She's pro-Hamas. These people that say they're pro-Palestinian, they're not pro-Palestinian. And I would encourage you guys, don't fall for that. They're pro-Hamas. They're not pro-Palestinian. Palestinians, Arab Palestinians, live peacefully in Israel, but they're not terrorists. And sadly, what Hamas has done, Hamas runs the Gaza Strip. Over 2 million people. You're worried about housing. You're worried about sewage problems, all of safe drinking water. All of that is Hamas's fault. They use rockets, the cement that was imported to, or that was exported from Israel to the Gaza Strip in order for the Arab Palestinians to use in order to build homes. That was used to build tunnels. Hamas used that to build tunnels to attack Israel. They use rockets when it comes to sewer. Did you know they're using sewer lines to create and build rockets to attack? They were using sewer lines to build rockets to attack Israel. That's why you have the sewage problems and the harmful drinking water problems. It's Hamas. It is not Israel. And then Hamas uses people as shields, the Palestinian people. So if they shoot a rocket from a school building, school or office or apartment, then Israel has to respond to that threat And unfortunately, Hamas uses Palestinians as human shields. Where's the outcry against Hamas? There is none. So these people that claim they're pro-Palestinian, they're not pro-Palestinian. They're pro-terrorist. They're pro-Hamas. They're pro-Hezbollah. That's what you should call them. They're not pro-Palestinian. All right, so here's a couple of more videos that we're going to play for you real quick. Let's just go ahead and run through them, Gabe. And I'll give you people the numbers and we'll close out. And they got some women lined up against the wall. What do you? Oh, wow! They got a Humvee. How did they get a Humvee? Wow! Great military equipment. Wow! Nice firearms. I wonder if they got those from Afghanistan. Just asking a question. Next video. Let's just go next video. You saw that was a pretty Humvee. Nice military Humvee. Man, almost looks like an American one. Here's an interrogator. Why did you kidnap women? This is one of the Hamas terrorists. Quite frankly, as soon as he answered this question, I don't know why they don't have a machete chopping off his head. I feel like this is the way these people should die. I'm sorry. I have no mercy. Listen, give them an opportunity. Hey, do you want to get right with God? You want to repent real quick because you're about to go to you're about to face God. So you want to repent? Yes? No? Okay. All right. Because your head is about to get chopped off. I'd let them know what's happening. I'm sorry. I have no sympathy for them. And people that do, I think you're pro-Hamas. I think you're pro-Hamas. And I think you're responsible or just as complicit, I should say, on the attacks of Israel and what you see, the women being raped and freaking murdered and men and, just being being killed and slaughtered and being forced to watch their, girlfriends and women being raped. It's insane. It's insane. Anyway, let's go ahead and roll this.
يتوسخ معهم ايش يعني؟
شو معناته يتوسخ؟ احكي
بديش احكي يعني انا
احكي للبنات يعني مزبوط شو بدهم يسوون؟
يوسخوا فيهم يعني ينيلوهم.
All right, that's what they want to do. They want to dirty them. They want to rape them. They want to rape them. Rashida Tlaib, AOC, the Hamas caucus, I think Harmeet Dillon, give her credit for that, came up with that yesterday or the other day on Twitter. That's what they need to be called, the Hamas caucus. That guy shouldn't be alive anymore. Chop his head off. I don't give a flip. I don't give a flip anymore. Hey, let's show you this horror scene. This video is over 3 minutes long, so we're gonna have to break it up just shortly so that we don't suffer from any copyright infringement, and then we'll play it. But this is a Israeli press woman or reporter that happens to go to or is reporting on the carnage that Hamas calls right beyond the border region, and then they come across, or she reports how they come across at least 40 babies who were decapitated. You've heard plenty of people talking about this online, but I just want you to watch as she's a professional, right, reporting. It's 3 minutes long, but just watch how her attitude, her mentality shifts. These people will never be the same. These people will never be the same that have seen it. Let's roll this one, Gabe.
We're actually still moving through the community. It's starting to exit now, but I want to show you just some of the destruction to these houses as well, because as I showed you, all of the destruction that these terrorists committed on foot as they bombarded and massacred this community. There were also air raids and rockets happening overhead, completely taking out buildings like this one. So it was really a mixture of everything happening on the ground and in the sky as well, completely devastating this community. Truly horrific images that we're seeing. Now, as we're leaving the community, you can see all of these soldiers here. As I said, so many of them called from their homes, jumping into action at a moment's notice. Many of these reservists leaving all of their families behind to be here to protect Israel's southern border, less than a quarter of a mile away. We continue to hear loud artillery and shelling in the distance at the Gaza border as we're walking out. So really, all of these soldiers are doing their best to protect us, the journalists who are also out here because they want us to see exactly what's happening and what they've been witnessing with their own eyes for these past 3 days. Many have been coming here Saturday night, and they knew that no other soldiers had been here yet. And so they kind of knew an idea of what was happening, but no one could expect.
Let's stop it there. Let's stop it there let's stop it there. All right. So she's getting ready to report on the babies. You can already hear the cracking in her voice start to take place. Guys, we're seeing this from a distance. We're seeing videos. You've seen pictures online. Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, they've been doing a great job at sharing this stuff. Many people, you can go on Twitter, you can see the video everywhere. People sending video from Israel. You have a bunch of Hamas and Hezbollah sympathizers and pro-Hamas people. They're not pro-Palestinian. If they were pro-Palestinian, they wouldn't be anti-Israel. They wouldn't be anti-Israeli. They wouldn't be. I'm sorry, Israel has to defend themselves. And if you have Arab Palestinians that are either voting for Hamas or won't stand up to Hamas in the Gaza Strip, and they allow Hamas to use their apartments, their office buildings, their schools, mosque, whatever, to launch rockets to kill Israelis, I'm sorry, you're going to get bombarded. That's war. Nobody likes it. It's disgusting. That's why we don't want to do it. It is brutal, but this is absolutely insane. Let's go ahead and finish rolling the video.
That it would be like this, the horrors that I'm hearing from these soldiers. As I mentioned earlier, about 40 babies at least were taken out on gurneys. Still, right now, they're going house to house, still evacuating dead bodies,
Nicole,
killed Israeli citizens who were killed
I have to cut in. It's such a shocking, jarring statement there. And just for our viewers, we're in a new hour here on the broadcast who very likely weren't with us last hour to understand that you've come in there to find this small community littered with the dead and slaughtered bodies of Israeli civilians primarily, and you're saying 40 babies, dead babies.
That is what one of the commanders told me. And you continue to see just cribs overturned, strollers left behind, all of these doors wide open. He said, we don't know the exact number of casualties because they're still collecting dead bodies, still going door to door because the active fighting here just stopped. He said it came in waves almost. Every 20 minutes, they thought maybe, okay, I think we finally cleared all the terrorists. And then 30 minutes later, another cell would emerge. So it was ongoing. And even when they thought that it had finally ended, more terrorists popped out of nowhere, and that continues to be the scene now. It is under control now, and that's why we are allowed to come through the area. However, throughout southern Israel right now, there are still actively searching for terrorists in some of these fields behind me. I mean, you can see still just artillery completely destroying some of these sidewalks in this community, and this is just minor compared to everything that's happening inside these homes, everything that these soldiers themselves are saying. They say it is unlike anything they've ever seen in their entire lives before. The number of bodies, the number of casualties, the number of their family members, their friends who all live in these communities, it's truly horrific images that they've seen firsthand. And as you can see, still, you can hear those explosions overhead, still active, ongoing fighting over as we're so close to the Gaza border.
Okay, so Gabe, I'll be honest with you, I kind of missed it. I got this message right in the middle of this, but she was the woman that was talking about the bodies of the decapitated babies. I didn't see that in that video. I thought we had that video. It was the same woman, but I did not see that in that video. So I apologize for that. I thought for sure that is completely my fault. But the same woman, she was going in and reporting on literally walking up to the homes where they had discovered bodies of babies who's literally they're sawing off. Imagine what they're doing. Do you understand? It's not like a quick death. I mean, they're sawing off the heads of babies. These people are evil. They're just evil. Now, here's this. My wife just sent me this. Khalid Mashal, the leader and founding member of Hamas, issued a call for Muslims to riot on Friday. Mashal called for the Friday of Al-Aqsa flood. All right, that's a quote. The Friday of Al-Aqsa flood, and encouraged jihadists to fight against Israel and the United States. Remember I told you little Satan, big Satan? Hamas is also posting banners instructing the residents of Gaza to go to the Israeli border on Friday in solidarity with Jerusalem and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. All right, so these people aren't just coming for them; they're going to come for us too. Now, let me just tell you why we should be concerned. The borders. I've talked about this a lot lately in the last couple of weeks, but I want to give you a new stunning report that the Biden administration wanted to apparently keep on the DL. Hat tip to AM Greatness, also the Daily Signal reported on this. There's a little more lengthy, so I'll just use the consolidated version from AM Greatness. House GOP report the Biden regime has failed to remove more than 99% of the illegal aliens that have been released into the United States. So I was hearing before that upwards of 30% of people were being sent back. No, not happening. So according to new data obtained by the House Judiciary Committee, the Biden regime has failed to remove over 99% of the more than 2 million illegal aliens that were released into the country between January 20th in 2021 and March 31st in 2023. Also, let me say this. If you're listening to this podcast, guys, we need a Speaker of the House. There's some things that can't be done except things that they've already done. So we need a Speaker of the House. Will you please call your congressman and tell them to vote for Jim Jordan? Consider that. We need to get this show on the road. Kevin McCarthy has bowed out. At first, he was out. He said he wouldn't run again. And then there was ramblings that he would possibly consider running again, or he wouldn't say, simply because the people leading Steve Scalise and Jim Jordan couldn't get to the 218. They're doing this on the down low right now, but Speaker McCarthy, former speaker, came out and said he's not running, which tells me he doesn't have the votes or the support that he thought. So it's between Scalise and Jim Jordan. I think Jim Jordan was built for such a time as this. That's just my take. All right, that's just my take. So if you would call, we need to get this show on the road. All right, now, having said that, getting back to this. So according to new data that was obtained by the House Judiciary Committee, the Biden regime, the pro-Hamas Biden regime, has failed to remove over 99% of more than 2 million illegal aliens that were released into the country from January 2021. That's his inauguration date until March 31st, 2023. More than 99% of illegal aliens. This is from Jim Jordan and Representative McClintock. They released this report on the Biden border crisis. 99% of illegal aliens released by Biden between January 2021 and March 31st, 2023 are still in America. All right. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas asserted that the southwest border is closed and illegal aliens are removed from the country quickly. But Jim Jordan and Tom McClintock released this report titled "The Biden Border Crisis." New data and testimony show how the Biden administration opened the southwest border and abandoned interior immigration enforcement, close quote. So after persistent demands by the committee and its subcommittee on immigration, security, and enforcement for basic information about the state of the border crisis, DHS produced data exposing the alarming state of immigration enforcement. The new non-public data show an alarming lack of immigration enforcement. So between January and 2021, these are the numbers, and March 31st of 2023, there were over 5 million illegal alien encounters. Of these encounters, nearly 2.5 million had no confirmed departure from the United States. During the same period, DHS released at least 2,148,738 illegal aliens into the United States. During this, oh, good God. The Biden administration has removed, and I'm quoting, who am I quoting here? The Biden administration has removed from the United States only 5,900, and I'm not sure who's saying this, 5,993 illegal aliens who were encountered at the southwest border, who were placed in removal proceedings before an immigration judge during that time. Listen, so over 2 million or 2.5 million people had no confirmed departure from the United States. 2.1 million, just over illegal aliens, or during the same period, were released into the United States. Over 2 million. And you have fewer than 6,000 that were sent before an immigration judge during that time. So at least 2.1 million aliens released into the United States since January have failed to be removed due to immigration court removal proceedings. That means roughly 99.7% of those illegal aliens are remaining. So just 6% of illegal aliens released into the U.S. were even screened for fear of persecution for purposes of asylum. Only 6% were screened. We don't know what diseases. We don't know what drugs. We don't know all of the criminals. As of March 2023, DHS had removed only 874 of the illegal aliens whose asylum claims were adjudicated on the merits and denied by an immigration judge. Another 205,473 aliens were released into the country through illegal categorical parole programs. DHS claims that ICE made 143,000 arrests and 72,000 deportations in 2022 fiscal year compared to 74,000 arrests and 59,000 deportations in the previous fiscal year. According to Fox News' Bill Malugin, so far in 2023, there have been 151 arrests of suspects on the FBI's terror watch list at the southern border. That's why, for the person that literally messaged me, asked why would I be talking about Israel when it doesn't affect us? It does affect us. It does affect us. They're the little Satan. We're the big Satan. I know we've been so engulfed in American politics that we want to believe just because we're being the whole Russia-Ukraine thing because it seems because that war has just been a complete and utter cluster, whatever. That everything is. We got to use our brains. We've already been attacked once, for God's sakes. That's your freaking evidence. I'm arguing that this is the real threat against all Americans. Islamic jihadism, not J6 protesters. Honestly, I'm so sick of where we are in American politics. It's so discouraging. Even on the conservative side, it's like we can't talk policy. We can't think. But if you're listening to this podcast, you are. So, guys, I do appreciate you tuning in today. I'm just going to give you one last number. And I've got plenty of more data to back this stuff up, but I won't go into it. Basically, it's just a further detail of some of the numbers that were broken down from AM Greatness that Daily Signal did. It's a great place. But one of the titles, if you want to look it up for yourself, on dailysignal.com. New data reveals number of illegal aliens who entered U.S. under Biden exceeds population of these 22 states. Oh, yeah, let me read the states. These states all have a population below 3.8 million. Connecticut, Utah, Iowa, Nevada, Arkansas, Mississippi, Kansas, New Mexico, Nebraska, Idaho, West Virginia, Hawaii, New Hampshire, Maine, Montana, Rhode Island, Delaware, South Dakota, North Dakota, Alaska, the District of Columbia, Vermont, Wyoming. So we've just made another state of illegal aliens. And guys, I want you to keep this in mind too. All right, whatever you feel about 2020, swing states made a big difference. Donald Trump would be president were it not for 40-something thousand votes because of the Electoral College. This stuff matters. Not only in our voting, but I'm telling you, as far as terrorist attacks, you guys better get ready for the worst. I pray to God it doesn't happen. Perhaps it won't, but you better get ready for the worst. I'll leave you with this last number. 407,983 convicted criminal aliens are currently on Immigration and Customs Enforcement's non-detained docket, quote unquote, of over 5 million cases. 408,000 basically convicted criminals. Put simply, these are foreign nationals who were illegally in the U.S. and convicted of crimes here. After serving their sentences, they were released, but they weren't deported, so they remain in our communities. This could be because their home countries refuse to take them, which would be smart for their home countries, dumb for us. Although presidents before Biden succeeded in twisting arms, but mainly it's because ICE deportation target numbers are pathetically low. An Inspector General's report from back in 2017, when they were deporting 10 times as many from a docket half as big, found that ICE is almost certainly not deporting all the non-citizens who could be deported and will likely not be able to keep up with the growing numbers. And it's not their fault. This is the Biden administration. This is the Biden administration. We have an anti-American, pro-Hamas, pro-Iran administration in the White House. I don't say that lightly, but it's true. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Support my sponsor, MyPillow.com. Click on the radio podcast square. Give them a call, 800-858-0263. Help them out. You can help us out. Go on to YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube. Subscribe to our Rumble. If you could give us a special thanks, listen, we'd appreciate it. We're trying to grow here. And until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.